The security camera footage was time-stamped at 3:47 a.m. It showed a man standing perfectly still in the corner of the warehouse, standing there for 3 hours straight. When my supervisor reviewed the tape the next morning, he called me into his office. He asked me a question I'll never forget. "Were you alone last night?" I told him yes. I was the only person in that building. He turned the monitor toward me and pressed play. That's when I saw him, standing in the shadows, watching me work. For 3 entire hours. But here's what made my blood run cold. When security checked the building that night, every door was locked from the inside. Every window was sealed. There was no way in and no way out. Tonight, I'm sharing 3 true night shift horror stories. Real experiences from real people who encountered something they can't explain. These aren't campfire tales, these are warnings. If you work alone at night, you need to hear this. Let's begin. This story comes from a gas station attendant in rural Montana. For privacy, we'll call him Derek. Derek was 23 years old when this happened. He'd been working the overnight shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., for about 8 months. The job was simple: stock shelves, ring up the occasional trucker, keep the coffee fresh. Most nights, he'd see maybe 10 customers total, but there was one regular, an older man, probably in his 60s, who came in every single night at exactly to 17 a.m. Derek noticed because it was always the same time. Down to the minute, the man would buy a pack of Marlboro Reds, a black coffee, and a lottery ticket. He never said much, just a polite nod, a quiet thank you, then he'd leave. This went on 4 months, same time, same items, same routine. Then one night, the man didn't show up. Derek remembers checking the clock at 2:17 a.m., then to 20, then to 30. It felt strange, like something was off, but he shrugged it off. Maybe the guy was sick, maybe he was traveling. People break routines all the time. The next night, same thing, no regular. By the 3rd night, Derek started to worrying, not because he knew the man personally, but because the absence felt wrong. You know that feeling when something's missing, but you can't quite place it? That's what Derek felt. A week went by, then 2 weeks. The regular never came back. About 3 weeks after the man stopped coming in, Derek was scrolling through his phone during a slow shift. He was looking at the local news website when he saw it. An obituary. The photo made his stomach drop. It was him, the regular, the man who bought Marlboro Reds and black coffee every night at 2:17 a.m. Derek clicked on the obituary. His hands were shaking. He read the details. The man's name was Gerald Pritchard. He was 67 years old. Retired truck driver. Survived by 2 daughters. And then Derek saw the date of death. His heart stopped. Gerald Pritchard had died 4 weeks ago. But that wasn't the part that made Derek's blood run cold. It was the time of death, 2:17 a.m. Derek did the math. The man had been dead for an entire week before he stopped showing up at the gas station. Derek tried to rationalize it. Maybe he misread the date. Maybe it was a different person with the same name. But deep down, he knew. He'd seen that face every night for months. It was him. For the next few nights, Derek couldn't stop thinking about it. He'd watched the clock. It approached to 17 a.m. Part of him expected the door to chime. Expected to see Gerald walk in, same as always, but it never happened until it did. It was a Thursday night, exactly 1 month after Derek found the obituary. The gas station was dead quiet, no customers for over an hour. Derek was restocking the cigarette display behind the counter when he heard it. The door chime. He glanced at the clock. 2:17 a.m. He turned around. And there he was, Gerald Pritchard, standing at the counter. Same jacket, same tired expression. He didn't say anything. He just stood there, waiting. Derek's mouth went dry. He couldn't move, couldn't speak. His brain was screaming at him that this wasn't possible. This man was dead. He'd seen the obituary. He'd seen the date. But there he was. Derek forced himself to move. His legs felt like concrete. But he stepped up to the register. His voice came out as a whisper. "Can I help you?" Gerald didn't respond. He just stared at Derek. His eyes were wrong, not angry, not sad, just empty, like he was looking through Derek instead of at him. Then, slowly, Gerald raised his hand. He pointed at the cigarettes behind the counter, Marlboro Reds. Derek's hands were trembling as he grabbed the pack. He set it on the counter. Gerald didn't move. Derek grabbed a coffee cup, filled it with black coffee, and placed it next to the cigarettes. Still, Gerald just stood there, pointing. That's when Derek realized. The lottery ticket. He grabbed one from the dispenser and set it down. Gerald's hand dropped. He reached into his jacket pocket. Derek's entire body tensed, but Gerald just pulled out exact change. He placed it on the counter. The coins were ice cold. Derek could feel the chill radiating from them. Gerald picked up his items. He turned toward the door, and then he stopped. He looked back at Derek, and for the first time in months, he spoke. His voice was hollow, distant, like it was coming from somewhere far away. "You should quit." Then he walked out. The door chimed. Derek stood frozen behind the counter. He looked down at the coins. They were covered in condensation, like they'd been sitting in a freezer. Derek pulled out his phone. He looked up Gerald Pritchard's obituary again. He scrolled down to the bottom. There was a detail he'd missed before, a note about Gerald's final wishes. He'd requested that his lottery tickets, the ones he bought every night at 17 a.m., be placed in this casket. His daughters honored that request. Derek quit the next day. He never worked a night shift again. The gas station closed 6 months later. The owner said it was due to low business, but the employees who worked there knew the truth. They'd all seen Gerald standing at the counter at exactly 17 a.m., still buying his cigarettes, his coffee, and his lottery ticket, still keeping his routine. That was just the beginning. This next story takes place in a hospital, where a night shift nurse encountered something that made her question everything she thought she knew about the building she worked in. Some places hold on to their past, and sometimes that past doesn't want to let go. This story comes from a registered nurse in Ohio. We'll call her Amanda. Amanda had been working in hospitals for over a decade. She'd seen everything: codes, traumas, deaths. Nothing rattled her anymore. Or so she thought. She was assigned to the pediatric ward on the 4th floor. The night shift was usually quiet. Most of the kids were stable, sleeping. Amanda would make her rounds every 2 hours. Check vitals, adjust IVs, make sure everyone was comfortable. The ward had 22 rooms, but only 14 were occupied that night. The rest were empty, waiting for new patients. It was around 3 a.m. when Amanda first heard it. She was at the nurse's station, updating charts, when she heard a sound coming from down the hall. It was faint, but unmistakable. A child's laughter. Amanda looked up. The hallway was empty. All the doors were closed. She checked the monitor. All the kids were asleep. She shrugged it off. Maybe one of them had woken up. Maybe they were dreaming. She went back to her charts. 10 minutes later, she heard it again. Louder this time, giggling, coming from the east wing. Amanda stood up. She walked down the hall, checking each room as she passed. Every child was asleep. Every room was quiet. She reached the end of the hall, room 422. The door was closed. The room was empty. It had been empty for 3 days. Amanda opened the door and flipped on the light. The room was exactly as it should be. Bed made, equipment stored, nothing out of place. But the air felt wrong, cold, like the heating had been turned off. Amanda was about to leave when she saw it, on the floor, near the window. A toy, a small red ball. It hadn't been there before. Amanda was sure of it. She'd checked this room earlier in her shift. It was empty. She picked up the ball. It was old, worn, The kind of rubber ball we'd find at a dollar store. She turned it over in her hands. There was something written on it in faded marker. A name. Emma. Amanda took the ball back to the nurse's station. She asked the other nurse on duty, a woman named Carol, if she knew anything about it. Carol's face went pale. She told Amanda to put the ball back. Immediately, Amanda asked why. Carol hesitated. Then she told her, 10 years ago, a little girl named Emma had been a patient in room for 122. She was 7 years old. Leukemia. She'd been in and out of the hospital 4 months. The staff loved her. She was bright, funny, always smiling, even when she was in pain. Emma had a red ball. She carried it everywhere. She'd bounce it in the hallways when she had enough energy. The nurses would play catch with her. It was her favorite thing. One night, Emma's condition worsened. She coded at 3:17 a.m. The team tried everything, but she didn't make it. She died in room for 122. After Emma passed, her parents donated most of her belongings. But they kept the red ball. They said they wanted to bury it with her. The hospital staff never saw it again. Amanda felt a chill run down her spine. She looked at the ball in her hands. The name Emma stared back at her. She asked Carol if this was some kind of prank. Carol shook her head. She said the ball had appeared before. Other nurses had found it, always in room for 122, always at night. Amanda didn't believe in ghosts. She was a woman of science. But she couldn't explain the ball. She walked back to room for 122. She opened the door. The room was freezing now. Her breath came out in visible puffs. She placed the ball on the windowsill. She was about to leave when she heard it again. The laughter right behind her. Amanda spun around. The room was empty, but the ball was gone. She looked at the windowsill. Nothing. She checked the floor. Under the bed. In the closet. The ball had vanished. Amanda left the room. She closed the door. She told herself it was stress, exhaustion, the mind playing tricks. But as she walked back to the nurse's station, she heard it one more time. The laughter. Faint, distant, coming from room 422. She didn't go back. The next morning, Amanda reported the incident to her supervisor. She expected to be laughed at, but her supervisor just nodded. She said Amanda wasn't the first. Over the years, multiple staff members had reported strange occurrences in room 422. Laughter,